And welcome to Cosmic Koolaid, episode 14. I'm your host, Corey Short. In the studio today with me, I got the incredibly talented and beautiful Miss Kayla McKinney. Kayla, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We are extremely excited to have you here. You are our first country female artist that we've had in the booth, and no better way to start that off.
I did not know that I was the first one.
You
Yes.
are. I mean, we've had lyric and we've had a couple, but you're my first country gal, so welcome.
Well, thank you.
We've been watching you work for a long time from both of our venues, and you are an outstanding performer. And you really, I think one thing that separates you that I've been able to tell is you really, really work at your craft. You know, so many of these cats out there doing what you're doing are just wanting to do what you do, and live the life and feel that dream, but don't want to put in the work.
Yes.
And you do that. You put in all the social media. I mean, you can tell that you really care about what you're doing.
I definitely. I would eat ramen noodles in order to do this.
So tell our audience a little bit about your background, not just musically, but, you know, growing up here, and tell us about Kayla.
I grew up in a very modest household with a Christian background, two parents that were together, and lots of siblings. So there was lots of girls, you know. I have a lot of older sisters, so I got to grow up really fast riding around with them, you know, and got to see a lot of stuff go down. So, like, by the 5th grade, I wanted to sing Goodbye Earl for the talent contest because my sister was into the Dixie Chicks, you know, at the time. And I was just learning about domestic violence and all of that stuff. And so I got to kind of mature faster because I had all these older sisters, yeah. So
How many did you say?
I have 5 older sisters.
Holy
yeah.
cow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And did you grow up in a 2-parent household?
I did.
So your father had 6 girls, plus your mom.
My dad had 2 girls before he met my mom, and my mom had 1 girl before she met him.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was half sisters and then full sisters.
No boys in
together.
the house other than your dad.
One boy,
Okay.
brother.
Hallelujah for him for
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And what was that like, growing up with that many girls in the house?
There was a lot of estrogen rolling around. My poor brother, he probably, because there was like one bathroom at one point in time, and then my dad added on an addition onto the house. And my poor brother, I just remember him, like, he'd be like, I have to go pee. And he'd just automatically run outside because he never could get to the bathroom. There was always a girl in the bathroom doing their hair or makeup or whatever, you know. So it was, you know.
So tell me about how you got into music. When did that start for you?
I started singing at a very young age, not like performing a lot live, but I would go off, you know, into the woods and I had a little tape recorder that ran off of batteries and stuff, and I would record, you know, 99.9 Kiss Country on there, and I'd just take off into the woods with me and my cat, and I'd just sit and start singing, and that's when I actually started recording myself on that tape recorder and was like, okay, I don't like this note. So if I go up with this note, you know, or if I go down with this note. And so I started to train my voice, but really before the 5th grade at some point in time, because the 5th grade I come out and started singing, and all my little girlfriends were like, holy crap, like, you're hitting all the notes to Shania Twain over here, you know?
And so you knew that in 5th grade. You knew you had it.
Yeah, in the 5th grade, yeah.
Nice. It's funny you say that. I would use the little Walkmans to record myself DJing back then. I swear, 10, 11, 12 years old, because my dad was a radio DJ. So I would use his studio, or I would be out in the field like you do with a Walkman and doing my little DJ thing and saying my little one-liners. So it's funny how we can pick up on some of that early, and here we are.
So cute.
I've went through that profession and retired, and I'm on this side of things now. But yeah, cool stuff. So, did you always know that it was the genre that you were going to be a country rock singer?
I started out in country music. I felt that country music and country songs really hit my emotions, but I loved the altitude of the divas. like I loved the Whitney Houston, how strong her vocals were, and Celine Dion, how strong her vocals were. And so I strived for very strong vocals, but loved the storytelling in country music. And so I think that I loved both of them, but I knew that along the lines of, if for me as an artist, I wanted to have strong vocals, but have it in country music.
How do you feel about the way country music has changed?
I think that it's good and it's bad. I think I would never knock a country artist today that is striving to make it in country music that has, clicks or a pop beat behind them, because that is their art that they're making. And so I can't ever knock it for that. But I think it's up to the listener, their preference on what they decide is right for them, and I think bringing back some of the fiddle and the steel guitar and the banjo is going to be important for us to preserve that. I think it's just important to preserve that, not that we can't add other extras to it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just that's part of the Southern rock aspect that comes in too. We got artists like Travis Tritt, which I love, and then artists like Jelly Roll I love, so I love all of it.
So you being a country singer from the Western North Carolina market, did you have any opportunity to work with or sing with Luke Combs before he exploded?
I did not. Everybody was like, you got to go see Luke. And, and I was playing like a lot of the same venues that he was playing. But, it was like we were both busy musicians.
You were gigging, and that's the same reason I never got to see him.
Yeah.
I was out doing the DJ thing, and I heard about him you got to come see this guy. But
yeah.
So anyway, he's doing some really cool stuff, right?
Absolutely.
And it's incredible. Just dropped another album yesterday, and 16 songs or something. He's just, man, he can't miss.
Yeah.
He can't miss. So tell me about the climate in Western North Carolina for country music, in your opinion. Local country music.
Local country music. I would say it's on the outskirts of mainly where we live. It's just a mixture. You got everything from pop country to you got some of the pickers that go back old school country. Pulling out the Johnny Cash and all of those guys. So it's just a wide variety of different artists that are in this area, mixed with the indie stuff too, which is really cool.
Yeah. It's a volatile circulation of country talent around here that seemingly some drama.
Yes.
And some hurt feelings and folks coming in and out of the game like clockwork. And from my point of view on things,
yes,
I just appreciate your professionalism and your steady nature. And
I try to.
Congrats on that.
I want everybody to know that there's a piece of the pie for them as they,
Sure.
When you say drama, I think people get their feelings hurt, but ultimately, there's a time for each of us to shine, and
there's plenty of work to go around, plenty
Yes.
of venues that need talent.
Absolutely.
For me, I can tell you there's not enough. There's not enough country talent.
Yeah.
Because you can't run Kayla twice a month or Kayla becomes oversaturated and nobody comes anymore.
That's right.
So we need more.
Or
we need more country talent here.
Or I get laryngitis,
I think that works for your voice, though. It's got a nice sound to it.
Randy's like, my bass player, he's like, you sound like Miley Cyrus right now. But then when you start singing, like, you start hitting these high notes, and I'm like, they're like questionable right before the show. Like, is she going to be able to do it? And then I'm like, bam, with some of these notes, and they're like, okay, well, whatever,
So tell me how you feel like your sound stands out
I
above
think
others in this market.
I think I have that low tone to my voice, and which is more like a bluesy kind of. What's the way to? Ashlyn Craft has a low tone to her voice too, very similar to mine. I love her to death, but it's that sultry kind of tone to the voice, and then using that with power. That's kind of what I have, and it's not to be. It's hard to replicate that tone.
Sure.
So.
All right. So, what do you think has been your biggest challenge as you've launched your career? What is your biggest challenge?
I think balancing home life and the financial aspect that started all this. Because this takes money. This business does. Sure. And I think at first you're like, okay, I can be a country music singer or songwriter, but how am I going to make money and make it like that? So you just have to keep balancing everything and keep a busy schedule. And I think that is the hardest part of doing what I do, and taking care of yourself and take care of those around you as well, and holding all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Now, are you a musician? Do you play any instruments?
I play a little bit of guitar, but I'm not really confident on the guitar. My brother was more of the guitar player in the family. He's a smoking guitar player. Do
you ever pull it on stage with you, or are you always just singing?
Nope. I'm like, hey, Abbott, you can play this.
Now, you
amazing.
are a songwriter.
I am, yes.
How many songs have you written?
That's hard to say. I have a book full of songs, and then I have a book full of song hooks that I like to write the hook, and then I like to write maybe context to go with it for future writing, so that when I sit down with people, I'm like, okay, let's zoom in on this hook. What do you think about when you hear this 4-word phrase here, and just kind of get their perspective on it and then my perspective on it, But I love writing songs like that have a double meaning behind the phrase. Like These Two Bar Stools was, it meant, my ex was coming back in the bar. He thought the seat next to me was for him, but it was not. It was for the new guy that I was dating. And
brutal.
Yeah. But it meant, after he had cheated and, did his whole thing, it meant that he no longer held that place in my life. So these two bar stools, things will never be the same between me and you and these two bar stools. That represented, I kind of put objectification, how do you say that word, on the bar stool, because it represented his place in my life. And so I love taking those, those hooks and then giving it a double meaning. Same with Don't Know Jack. Don't Know Jack was, you don't know him behind closed doors, but you don't know what she's been through and why she has left. So don't judge for staying or leaving, when it comes to being in a toxic relationship. So double meanings to those phrases.
So now what is your process with that? Do you hear a tune, or does like Abbott lay something down and you're like, ooh, let me put some words to that? Or is it in reverse? You write the words and then Abbott lays down a track to go with it?
I write the words and then Abbott lays down the track to go with it. And a lot of times, it'll start out like this last one that I wrote started out like real slow country. And I was like, no, we gotta up this beat, And so Abbott's like, speeding it up, and I'm like, this needs to be a dance song, Abbott, but it could have worked for either or. It could have been slowed down and been a very emotional song, but we just decided to make it hit you in your face kind of dance tune, right out of the gate. So
Two bar stools.
That was.
You mind if I play it for my audience now?
Go for it, yeah.
All right, folks, take a listen. We'll be right back, and we'll take a short break, then we'll come back for segment 2 with Kayla McKinney. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Brandy Lamke. I'm the business owner of Coastal Wellness NC. We are a totally mobile IV hydration business that is offered here in Western North Carolina, a nursing dispatching company for the public. What that entails is our consumer, when needed, will call us at our 855 IV2U, and they will choose the option of Asheville, and they will tell the person that answers the phone who they are, what they need, and we will dispatch a nurse to their location. We have a menu available. It shows all of our IVs that are available and for what causes. It tells you what supplements are included. If you are experiencing IV drip, is just a basic drip for us, but you wanted to add some vitamin B12 to it, you can do that for a little extra money. Our nurses are very caring, and we have expert stickers. All of our nurses have done IVs for years. We have an online wellness shop where you can purchase vials of B12. You can also order semaglutide for weight loss. Monjourno is also another one, and those are our biggest sellers, are the weight loss.
So I'd never tried IV therapy before. My friend told me about Coastal Wellness. They came out to my house. It's a mobile unit, no mobile fee. I didn't have to worry about meeting the deductible for my insurance, which is really high. They came straight out to my house. I got the IV fluids. The next day I was feeling great and wonderful, and the nurse even called the next day to check and see how I was feeling.
And welcome back to Cosmic Koolaid. I'm your host, Corey Short, in the booth. Miss Kayla McKinney, she is a rising country star in the Western North Carolina region and beyond. So glad to have you here. It's an honor. It really is. You're a remarkable talent and very well respected member of the music community around here, and we're thankful that you took the time.
I'm glad that I'm respected around here.
Yeah, absolutely. So you told me a little bit about your songwriting process. Great song, 2 bar stools, by the way. Now, what else do you have on the horizon? You got a new single coming out?
Got a new single coming out, and then shortly after that, right now, I've just finished writing a love song, and so that'll be my next one to go in the studio with. Okay.
Now, is that final single? Is it complete? Is it done?
It's done.
Okay.
It's actually should be shortly uploaded into Patreon. So if you subscribe to the club, that helps me create more music and afford to make more music traveling back and forth.
Absolutely. Y'all support that Patreon.
And they get it first. It's under Kayla McKinney Country. And so you get to hear it before everybody else. It's kind of like leaking the tune, you know. But you get to hear it before everybody else, before I even do the single release party on it. And so, yeah. And other things on there too.
Do you prefer when you're out in the public? Do you prefer performing your original tunes over cover songs, from a performance perspective? Because I got to think that people are going to get up and dance when they know the song, so you probably don't get as much crowd interaction.
Yes.
Out of the gate with the original stuff.
It takes a minute for people to go, I've heard this song. Your brain has to hear a song, you know, so many times for it to kind of click and for you to start singing along with it. And now I'm seeing people start singing along with these 2 bar stools and Don't Know Jack. And that's a really cool thing. But it's taken a year of playing those and slipping them in there for people to go, okay, yeah, I like this. You know, I like the concept behind it. I like the story behind it. But it's taken a year, you know, so that's why I do, you know, I kind of just, I didn't want to do a whole album all at one time because nobody knows all those songs and it just affects the show. They want to hear stuff that they know and what they're familiar with. And so, and what they can have fun singing along with and dancing to. So, you know, it just works out great to be able to do that small percentage of originals.
Sure. Until the day comes where, you know, you're playing a sold-out festival and they're singing every word to all 10 songs that you wrote.
Yes.
That'll be a great day, and I definitely feel like that's in your future. So tell me more about accolades, award shows, Josie Awards, things that you've picked up along the way.
I did not expect to be part of the Josie Awards, to be honest with you. I wrote Don't Know Jack was my first song. I was still playing as a cover band, and I was actually still in nursing school and was pursuing that path, and I'm no longer pursuing that path. But I wrote Don't Know Jack, and then somehow along the lines I got nominated for the Josie Awards, and I was like, what? Out of 52,000 artists. And I don't know if it was the lyrics or whatever, because I wrote the song really to kind of reach out to women, to let women know, hey, I've been through some things too, and it's okay. You know, I'm here, you know, as a support system. You can share your story with me. I'll share my story with you, you know. So that was really the goal behind, you know, writing the song, because my heart went out to people that had been diagnosed with PTSD and had anxiety from past traumatic relationships and stuff like that. But it wound up turning into a really cool song, and then I wound up getting nominated for that.
And how was the experience at the awards in Nashville?
To be honest, I was exhausted. I had a show the night before. I drove straight into Nashville, got there at 6:30 in the morning, slept for a couple hours, got back up, put on my dress, curled my hair, made my way to the Grand Ole Opry. I tried to sit through all of it, and I was starting to like doze off. And then my son was like, we've got to go back, you know, because he had an appointment. And so I drove overnight, chugged a bunch of Red Bull. Don't advise doing that. But yeah, I made it back to Asheville by, you know, 6 o'clock in the morning. So
Talk to me about glam time. How long do you take to get ready for a show, Kayla McKinney?
about 30 minutes. Well, unless I, you know, shower and everything, you know, about an hour. But I can curl my hair in about 5 minutes now.
You don't spend a lot. You just do the damn thing and get to the show.
I just do the damn thing. About 3 minutes on my makeup. Enough TikToks I've watched. I'm like, contour here, contour there, you know, because that was not my forte. It was, you know, I was kind of tomboy, and my hairdresser, really, I won't mention her name, but she's like, you need to wear a cowboy hat. You need to put a bandana on, you know, cute bell bottoms and your nails. And she really helps me with all that, you know, and teach me how to curl my hair. And so, yeah.
Right on. Tell me about what's the biggest crowd you've ever played in front of?
I would have to say Priscilla Block was the biggest crowd that I've played in front of. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that was a fun night at Silverado's for sure. Is there what's the bucket list for venues you'd want to play?
Right now I'm looking at festivals. You know, I got some corporate private gigs, which I love those because they have really great food. Always. Really great barbecue. You know, I'm not really picky about where I play. Just as long as you know, there's no beer bottles getting thrown across the you know, the dance floor, and people are kind and nice to each other, you know.
We were looking at bringing Zach Wild last year, and he one of his main things in the rider was you can't sell anything that's not in a plastic cup. I guess he took a beer bottle to the face one time, so he will not work a venue. He will not sign a contract with a venue unless they're willing to do solo cups only.
Oh my God!
So the show didn't work out for other reasons, not because of that. We would have made that work, but it's just funny, and I mean I can totally see, you know, you take one to the face, probably makes it hard to get up on stage again.
It does. Somebody told me that David Allen Coe like pulled a gun out at one point in time. That might be a rumor, so don't know. He was like, who was it? You know, maybe I could see that. I don't know, but those the outlaw guys, you know, they had that toughness about them.
So do you have any particularly memorable performances that you're just really proud of? Any moments where you got to duet with somebody famous, or, you know, just a performance that's going to stick with you for a while?
I would say my first performance as a kid will always stick with me. I think it was the moment that my dad and my mom realized, and my whole family realized, that I could sing, and I think that's why it sticks with me. And I seen, I did "I Will Always Love You" by Whitney Houston, and it was a whole gymnasium of little kids. They were all sitting Indian style, and after I got done singing, they all stood up, and I mean, they were clapping, and the principal came over, and I'll hear her talking to my dad on the back of the camera, and she said, you really need to get that kid into what they called Star Search at the time. And I always thought that was so cute, you know, like it was just a memorable moment that I had as a kid. But then as an adult, you know, I couldn't say which moment would be completely memorable for me performing, because they've all been special in some form or fashion, you know.
Now, did you sing in church?
I did. Mm-hmm.
You sang in church in your adult years too, right?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where I heard you first, or I think we worked a wedding together, and you were singing at a wedding.
Probably.
And I was DJing. What do you believe is the biggest misconception about being a country singer or a singer in general?
That you get catered to constantly, and that you know, you're like a diva. You know, I think like some people are like, "Why are you carrying in your own equipment?" I'm like, I'm not just gonna let the guys carry in everything. Like, I've got two hands too. You know, as a female, you know, they're like, "Put that down, sweetheart." I'm like, nope. You know,
And that's probably more so in country music, where, you know, female country singers are going to be tougher and grittier for situations like that anyway.
yes.
So what is your process like for choosing your songs that you're going to perform? Like you're coming to Silverados, you got to write the set list. What's normally your routine there?
Some of it is dependent on the guitar. Some of it is just depending on the key of the song. A lot of times I'll put the certain, you know, if it's in a drop D, I'll put it all in a drop D set together so he's not tuning back up. And then some of it's depending on, you know, fast song, slow song. And then right around the time that they start to get tipsy, I like to throw in the dance songs, you know, because they're not going to get up and dance right out of the gate. You know, they want to listen to me and get acclimated.
Sure.
So it's just kind of going with the flow of the audience and being that entertainment that they look forward to.
What's your favorite song to sing?
I would say I'd Rather Go Blind by Etta James is my favorite song. I just feel that there's so much emotion in that song, and there's so many different versions of how you would sing that song, and I've heard it done so many different ways, and I've found that I just do my own version of it, and that happened by accident, and it turned out to be a really cool version of it, merging it with the Tennessee whiskey. And it's actually one of the most requested songs that I have out of the whole show. So yeah.
What's the name of the new single that's coming out?
It's called Go Find Less.
And how long till they can get that on your Patreon?
I would say it'll be up within a couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome news.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So we're going to take another quick break. Again, Kayla McKinney in the studio. Make sure to check out her Patreon at
Kayla McKinney Country.
Kayla McKinney Country. Go check out the Patreon and the brand new song, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to Cosmic Koolaid. I'm your host, Corey Short. And again, this is Kayla McKinney. Check out her Patreon at Kayla McKinney Country. She's on Facebook, Instagram, all the socials. And again, so glad to have you here and you taking the time to join us.
Absolutely.
So we talked about your songwriting earlier in your process, how you do it. Tell me about your inspiration. Where do you get your ideas from to write your songs?
I think a lot of it does come from the emotion of, reminiscing on things, on incidents that I've been through. It is true stories. And so, a lot of it's just past hurt. I think a good country song comes from being hurt, in different ways. So, yeah.
You've been through some of that.
I have.
Tell me about that.
I was in a relationship with somebody that I would classify as a narcissist, and it didn't hit me right out of the gate, because he come in and he was very charming and love bombing, but looking back on it, he wanted to control who I was with. He would monitor my phone calls. He would accuse me of staring at people if I kindly smiled at someone. There was a lot of abuse that went into that relationship, and I think I reached out to a lot of his friends and family throughout it, and I was like, "What is going on here?" And they said, "Well, that's what he learned," and so it was a generational thing that he had just learned to have this deep-rooted insecurity of, you got to control your woman, and it just came out in a monstrous way, and it really affected me because I thought, well, what's wrong with me, And so I would try to change aspects of myself, or I would try to go above and beyond to win his affection and his approval, and that just never happened.
And did you ever find that those narcissistic tendencies and the controlling, the jealousy stuff, did you ever find his jealousy and behavior like almost reverse psychology making you jealous? Did you ever feel that? Because sometimes I've heard that in these relationships, they almost brainwash you into being like them.
They do. He would purposely, like at parties and stuff, like we would go over to people's houses and he would he'd be over there like in the kitchen chit-chatting with some girl, and I'd be like, hey, just out of curiosity, is there a past between you and her? And 9 times out of 10, not that I was judging him, I was just curious, 9 times out of 10, he would tell me, yes, I have been with her, I've slept with her. And so it was, and then he never did, to come to find out, And so it was all to mess with my head, to make me feel like I was, just a pawn, So
I know this story.
Yes.
From my personal experience, I know this story.
Yeah.
Tell me about pet peeves you have on stage, in the studio, playing your music, doing your career. What are some of your pet peeves in music?
Do not yell, show me your titties.
I bet you get that a lot.
I've got it one time, and honestly, I was in a good mood. So I think that's what really saved the guy, because honestly, I probably would have embarrassed him if I was not in a good mood. I would have been like, get the fuck out, know? But I turned to Randy and I was like, Randy, show him your titties.
Randy, he was talking to you. You know that, right? So you are a beautiful girl. There's no doubt about it. I bet you get a lot of guys that come just for that fact alone.
Yeah.
How does that play into this for you? Is it a negative for you? Do you play into it a little bit?
If I let it bother me, it would stop me from doing what I'm passionate about. Sure. And it would stop me from connecting with the people that are really there for the music. But ultimately, everybody's human, and I get that. You could refer to me as a beautiful girl, eye candy, whatever, But then once they start to get to know me, they start to see me as kind of like, oh, a cool chick.
Right.
And she's like a sister. And then it chills out. And then it becomes, hey, nice to see you. Hope you're doing good, And so it really, I'm blessed to have them there as well,
Sure.
So.
How do you balance the business side of the music with the creative side?
Sometimes, to be honest with you, I have to shut off the business side and go, hey, I've got to take a day to write. I'm emotional today. I need to sit down and I need to write. And that
See,
comes
that's
in
what
waves.
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
Morgan Wallen is coming off probably the busiest year of his whole life, arguably.
Yeah.
It's got to be. He's on top of the world. Where in the hell did he find time to write 36 songs in the last year? Like, how? That's crazy.
He's got other people writing with him.
He must.
He has to. We love you, Morgan Wallen, but we know that the president doesn't do it alone, and neither do you.
But what a year! What a comeback he's had.
Yeah.
He dropped that N word. He faced the consequences. He made amends with humanity in the world, and I think he got out in front of it and got some help and some sensitivity training, and whatever the case may be, it worked out for him.
It did.
Then on the other side of that, you got people like Luke Combs and Maren Morris spoke up against it, and in some ways it backfired.
Yeah.
Clearly he's still kicking ass, but in some ways it backfired. I do know a couple local guys that were gung-ho Luke Combs, that after he took his stance, in that moment, and it was such a tense moment for humanity.
Yeah.
The George Floyd thing had just happened. The riots are happening. Everything's tense. It's crazy the ripple effect that it had in music. And
I think ultimately when people look at, people's actions and behaviors and they're judging them on their intent, I don't think Morgan meant to hurt anybody. He was because I went back and watched the video.
Sure.
And he was drunkenly talking to somebody. He was like, take care of my, and that's how it come out. He was not like, it was so I think he got held under the fire.
Speech.
Yeah.
It was stupidity.
Yeah. It wasn't about a heart problem at all. It wasn't about any of that. And so I think ultimately for anybody that is an adult that is looking to judge anybody, they always need to look at the intent of the heart. Is it meant to hurt? And not to say that it was right, but he did go back and apologize for it. And, because if it hurts somebody's feelings, he's going to apologize for it, I mean, I've said things that I would be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but and so if anybody's judging him for apologizing for it, I'm like, okay, man. Like,
do
what would you
politics play a part in who you'll listen to?
Not really. I mean, I want everybody to be nice to each other. I think that it's so important because we are all in this together, and if we don't pull it together, politics and the media and lies on one side, lies on the other side, what you're passionate about's over here, what you're passionate about's over here. If people don't start seeing that each other has a different perspective on it, then and to respect that and to love each other through it all, then we're doing our country a very, very big disservice.
Sure. Roseanne Barr. What do you think of Roseanne?
Oh, I think she's hilarious.
Yeah. See, I was a huge fan my whole childhood. I don't think I missed an episode of her show growing up ever. It was part of my routine, and my family grew up on that show. So to see her get canceled and over clearly a drunken wine spout off,
Yeah.
I don't remember everything she said, but I know she doesn't hate anyone.
Yeah.
It was stupid, what she said, but yeah, they're pushing her hard again, and I'm looking at bringing her to Silverado. So,
well, I don't blame you. I don't know much about what she said politically, to be honest. I have no idea, and I really don't know her politics.
I really think it was just the timing.
It was the timing,
just like with it was the timing of all that and the riots and everything that was going on, and everything was so sensitive.
Yeah,
nobody was getting away with saying anything out of place during that summer.
And it's crazy to me, like, cameras have made this possible. Like, you can't even go get drunk. Like, I don't go get drunk with people.
Sure.
Because they, like like, I don't mind having a beer or two, but like at my house, like I wouldn't invite like 5 girls over and be like, hey, let's get drunk. Because one of them would pull a camera out if I was like just joking about something, and then, could use it against me later. And, I could be quoting a comedian, and it not even be my words, and use it against me later. It's this cancel culture is just, it's just rotten. It's rotten. It's like going into a courtroom and using your kid as a pawn too, It just, people need to grow up.
Tell me about a profound experience in your life that your fans may not know about.
Profound experience.
Give the fans the inside scoop.
I will tell you that I got pregnant at a very young age, and my goal was to play music, and I was actually prepared to move to Nashville right before I got pregnant, and he's the best thing that ever happened to me. He really is, and he's just got an amazing sense of humor, and he's kept me straight. He's kept me focused, and made me strive for all of my goals. But in that moment, I remember, being young and scared and broke and alone, and I remember hearing this voice in the back of my head: your musical career is over. It's over, and it'll never happen. And for years, I fought that. And so now I'm at the point where I'm like, and it's taken my audience, my crowd, going, you should try out for American Idol. You should try out for The Voice. You're absolutely amazing. It's taken them saying genuine words, true strangers, people that don't even know me, saying that for me to believe in myself to be able to do this. So, and to put the work in to do it. So those are some of the things that they don't know, is that I've been a mom behind the scenes, and a sister and a daughter to a whole family.
So, to what level do you need to climb to feel that you've succeeded in this? What does that look like for you? For
me, it's not necessarily about awards. If I get to a point where I'm getting awards, I'd like to shoot for that, But when people are singing my songs and they say, your song really touched my heart, it changed my life. Hey, I sent Don't Know Jack to my sister in an abusive relationship. She got out of it. She heard your story. Whatever it takes for country music to speak to the heart and the soul like it did for me when I was a kid. On the way over here, I heard Alan Jackson singing that song about, riding in the pickup truck with his dad and the 75 Johnson boat. And those are the songs that paint those memories and really touch your soul in country music. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to do as a writer.
But are there any tangible milestones, like if I don't get to play the Ryman one day, I never did it? If you don't hear my song on the radio one day, I didn't succeed. Is there like a certain place where you feel like you did it?
I think the Grand Ole Opry would be an amazing thing. I've stood on the Grand Ole Opry when I was a child, just visiting and thinking, gosh, I hope I'm back here one day. But if I never do get there, I don't think I'm going to be like, oh, I'm a failure in country music. Because the thing is that if you've created the music, you've recorded the music, you've put it out there to your audience, you're performing it, whether you're on a big stage, a small stage, and you're making money and everybody is happy, you've done it. You've done it. And so I think it just ultimately, that's my goal, is to make good music.
Speaking of good music, who is producing your albums?
Mr. Kent Wells and Dave Fowler in Nashville.
What's the name of their studio?
It's a ragtop, I believe it, but okay. It is private, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Dave's a talented dude.
Yes, he really is. He's a good guy.
He's made some great records over the years for sure. How important is social media to your game? Extremely important.
I think social media changed the whole foundation of everything for artists that are independent, that are still pushing their music out on their own. That's how we advertise shows. Nobody would even know who Kayla McKinney is if it wasn't for social media, really.
It is. It's so funny how everything's changed. The when I go into starting the concert season and buying ads, and the things that used to work just don't work anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been a whole new thing to learn, and social media is just critical. Facebook, I don't know how for business. There's no option. You have to be on Facebook.
Yeah.
And you have to have a website, or you really don't exist, or at least not with any credibility.
Exactly.
So. All right, y'all. Again, we got Miss Kayla McKinney in the booth. We are going to take one more short break and come back for our fourth and final segment. So any chance that we can play a small clip of the brand new song for our audience in that final segment?
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, y'all. We'll be right back.
Okay. Hey y'all, I'm Dunbar with Instant Karma Asheville. We are a one-stop hippie shop and a true Asheville experience. Oh, and we have 3D tapestries. You gotta check this out. See what I'm saying? Every 3D tapestry comes with a free pair of 3D glasses. It's amazing. Oh yeah. We've got grassroots hats, belly dancing gear, and we have beautiful dream catchers for catching all those dreams that you don't want to have. We have locally made Asheville soap. It's delicious. You're gonna want some for you and your mom. Those would be incense matches. They're really great for the bathroom. Yeah. We have great pipes too. And we have yoga mats. They're really beautiful and soft, and they really help you to just calm down. We sell dragon eye journals and pendants. All sorts of beautifully made local stuff. We have two locations, one in West Asheville on Haywood Road, and the other one is downtown on North Lexington Avenue. Make sure you check out our online store at instantkarmaasheville.com. And I can say we are the place you want to be.
And welcome back to Cosmic Koolaid, episode 14. Kayla McKinney, country music rising star in the house. And we've been having a good time chopping it up about her writing process, her dreams and aspirations. Tell me about what you hope that your listeners will take away from not only a song, but a performance. Tell me about both sides of that.
I hope that they really, as far as the song, I hope that my songs speak confidence into people to know who they are and to know their worth, really, ultimately. Because a lot of my songs are about relationships. Whether they're upbeat and fun, they still have that spunky attitude to them. Kind of like what I was raised on with Jody Messina and Reba McEntire, So I wanted to encase that in my writing. As far as the performance, I want them to have fun and experience live music for what it is, that energy that's behind us as a full band. Because there's nothing that can replicate that, really, the live performance.
What's your favorite song of all time, Kayla?
I think Fancy by Reba McEntire is my favorite song of all time because she went from having nothing to having everything, but people sat back and judged her, and they didn't live the life of, oh my gosh, you didn't have a meal on the table, they didn't live that life, but they sat back and judged her, so I just think that that's an amazingly written song. And some people are like, oh, it's a song about selling your kid out. It was a song about her options as a human being to survive, and I think it's just important for us to not judge but to put ourselves in people's shoes, and I think that's what that song does. So
Tell me about your dream duet.
my dream duet, I would.
Jason Momoa doesn't sing, Kayla.
Oh, bless him. Oh my gosh. I think it would actually be with Alan Jackson. He reminds me so much of my dad, and my dad is a huge fan of his, and so anytime I hear him start singing, I just think of my dad, and that's Alan Jackson is. Yeah, that would be a dream come true. I'd probably faint first, and he'd be like, "Wake up."
What about females? Who could you power duo with?
Oh, Lainey Wilson, I love her.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
I absolutely love her personality. She's funny. I can see the whole Miley Cyrus thing.
And she has skyrocketed.
Oh, man.
And when I mean overnight, I mean overnight. I mean, just 2 years ago when we started Silverados and I was discussing bringing her, we weren't sure if we'd sell any tickets, and now she's $300,000 a show.
Yeah. That's what a
Overnight.
CMA.
It's crazy. Yeah. And Yellowstone, of course.
And her apple bottom jeans.
Yeah, the apple bottom jeans are certainly helping her, garner some attention. There's no way around that. But who else you rocking to these days? Who do you got your Spotify on?
I love Southern rock music too. So I jam out to some Whiskey Myers and Blackberry Smoke. I love the 70s rock, 80s rock. Shoot, on the way home last night, I was listening to Metallica, trying not to fall asleep, So I just have so many different influences that I enjoy listening to,
Who's your favorite non-country female voice?
Non-country. I would say that has to be Celine Dion. She just has this beautiful, soothing voice that could put you to sleep.
She does.
And also keep you from jumping off of a ship, apparently.
Or force you to jump off that ship if you don't like her voice. There's a few of those too. So I am hypothetically, I am a 18-year-old girl, and I live in New Hampshire, and I have discovered Kayla McKinney Country on Facebook, and I want to move to Asheville, North Carolina, and pursue country music. What advice would you give that 18-year-old girl, Kayla?
Oh, goodness. I would start off by saying start writing and start developing your voice and learning to work with musicians, because it's much more than just going, okay, I'm going to make this happen. There's a lot of politics that go into this, a lot of human skills, psychology. Keeping a band together is that in itself, problem solving and becoming like Dr. Phil at points in time. When I started, the guys are like, okay, Dr. Phyllis, but when you work with people and you work on that kind of level together and you're with each other all the time, you may not agree with something, and you just have to find a common ground. It's like being in a marriage with your band members. And so there's that aspect. Through the years, I've struggled with that. But it's never give up. If you're willing to do this, there can't be a plan B. You have to continually pour everything into it each and every day, and that's just what it takes.
Do you wish you had spent more time learning instruments?
I do. I wish that I would have gotten the same training that my brother did, maybe even alongside him. But I always thought in the back of my mind that my brother would be with me on stage. And he's not. He's got 5 kids now, so he's like changing one diaper while one's getting full. But Abbott is there with me. He sits and he writes with me, and he is like a brother to me, honestly. And so I cherish that relationship. I think it was meant for it to be that way.
So he stepped away for a little bit. Your brother stepped in? Is that how that went?
My brother and me started playing when we were young. And then my brother, as time went on, he got married and has a family and then he moved, so it just got to where my brother couldn't do, all of the gigs and all that stuff. And so Abbott stepped in, and actually at one point in time, they both played together on stage with me during shows. But Abbott has always been like a brother to me. And, but we've had a great relationship. It wasn't like we bickered back and forth. Me and my brother, we bickered back and forth. Me and Abbott never have done that. I'm just like, what do you think about this, Abbott? And he's like, I think that's an awesome idea, and he just goes with the flow. Just a very, very calming. He's an angel. I talk about him a lot, but he truly is. He is an angel in my eyes.
He's a great guy. I've known him for a while. Good dude, for sure. All right, Kayla McKinney, tell me what our audience can expect from you in the future, the short term and the long.
More songs, more shows, and fingers crossed, maybe some, more awards. I don't know. We'll just strive for it, and really, ultimately, the audience and the listeners are the ones that kind of hold the reins there. They push your music, they help you, they come out to shows and support you, they sign up for your Patreon to support the music. So the more support that I get as an artist, the better, And
are you willing to travel anywhere to play?
If I can afford it, yes. If there's burgers there with bacon on them, then I'll be there.
Heard that. Well, tell, as we get closer here to wrapping it up, tell our audience all the places that they can find you and your music.
We got
online, I mean.
Oh, online.
We don't want them telling more to find you personally. That doesn't end well usually. We'll leave that private.
All of my shows are listed under KaylaMcKinneyCountry.com under tours. And because, little snip here, my cover band was called Twisted Trail Band for years. So some of y'all, if you hear that name or you see that logo, that was the cover band. And so it transitioned from Kayla McKinney and Twisted Trail Band to now it's just Kayla McKinney and the Twisted Trail Tour is what we're calling it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's under the tour dates on the website.
So what is the website?
KaylaMcKinneyCountry.com, and it's Kayla McKinney Country on all social media outlets. We made it real easy for you to find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
So now have you got caught up in that shit of paying attention to how many Spotify streams? Like, are you watching your number?
I just now started it, and so now I'm starting to catch on to the algorithms of Spotify, and so that's why I'm going to start putting some more acoustic songs out here.
It's kind of becoming, as a fan and just a general person paying attention, it's kind of becoming an annoying chest pump day every year for all artists.
Yes.
You know, you had Jelly Roll go, I had 60 million streams, and then everyone posts their number. I don't know. It just seems silly to me.
It is, and you know, I mean,
for you locally,
yeah.
I'm just talking about for them and they're crazy. Like, well, no shit. We hear you on every radio station. Of course, you got that many streams.
That's right. The labels are pushing you, you know, which is great. You know, great music.
Radio. It's feels like it's dying a sad, tragic death. It breaks my heart.
It is. It is dying as a sad, tragic death. It really is.
You know, I want to believe there's a future for these people that I love that are in radio, doing what they're so gifted at.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, is that just podcasts? Is that what it turns into for them, and they monetize their life that way? I don't know, but like Josh Michael and my buddies Jeremy and Tank, and I just worry. I worry for all of them that are on the air, because I don't believe on the air is going to be a thing much longer.
Yeah. So advertisements will be, you know, their voice is always needed. We love your voice, Josh, too.
So I'm just to give you a point of reference on that. We had a concert in my first season at Silverado's that had 26 tickets sold the week before.
Wow.
And I needed roughly about 350 to break even, 350 people to break even on the show. We had 26 the week of. Yeah. So I very hopefully dropped a $3,000 one-week ad on one of the largest stations in the market. I'm not going to at all point fingers at the brand. I don't think there's wrong with any of the brands in our market. I think they're all great.
Yeah.
I think it's Blockbuster Video fate here. But so yeah, I dropped $3,000 that week, and we went from 26 tickets sold to 28 tickets sold. And in that moment, I knew the radio was dying.
Yep.
That was all. I never spent another dollar on radio since.
Yeah. It's all stream. People are pulling up Spotify, Pandora, YouTube to listen to music.
It is for music advertising dollars. Lots of research has gone into this next statement. It is Facebook and Spotify.
Yes. Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
Any money spent anywhere else other than billboards for big shows.
That's true.
That definitely helped Blackberry Smoke Show last year. I had 5 of those around town. It definitely helped.
I seen them. I loved it.
There was a clear uptick in ticket sales when they went up.
Nice.
And then a drop off when they came down. So, but yeah, so Facebook, Spotify, that's the name of the game today.
Yes.
In case you ever need to advertise one of your big concerts, which you certainly will.
Yeah, as much as possible.
Thank you, Kayla, for coming in to hang out with us and tell us your story. And we look forward to bringing you back. We're working on a second part of the studio, which is going to have a performance area that's already set up to perform.
Yeah.
So when we bring you back in the fall, we'll have Abbott come in with you, and maybe you'll be our first country female performance on the show.
That would be great. He would love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd love to have Abbott in here with us next time. So thank you so very, very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see you April 29th.
April 29th at Silverado's.
At Silverado's. She's got several other shows in the meantime. You can go check those out on her website. But Silverado's on the 29th to come hang out with both of us. We thank you guys so much for hanging out. Episode 14, Cosmic Koolaid. I'm Corey Short. This is Kayla McKinney. We'll see you next time.
In 2023, lines will be crossed, champions will be determined, and legends will be made. HVW once again sets the stage for great professional wrestling in Western North Carolina, bringing the best talent together for the Showdown Series at Silverado's. featuring TJ Boss, Jada, Stone, Reno, Royce, Luca, Daniels, Marcus, Erics, Michael, King, and King Enterprise. The bar and standard in professional wrestling has always been high in North Carolina. This year, High Velocity Wrestling takes that into the atmosphere. It's the Showdown Series at Silverado's.